The occupation army isn't just using weapons to kill Palestinians. Instead of missiles and bombs, they might use food. Death by design. This is the new method the occupation army is using to continue wiping out the Palestinian people in Gaza. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The UN called it a death trap. They offer humanitarian aid, but behind the mask, they offer bullets. And the Palestinian people are left with two choices: die from Israeli bullets or die from starvation. So the question is, until when? In today's video, we'll reveal how war criminal Netanyahu is trying every possible way to wipe out the people of Gaza as fast as possible, even using humanitarian aid as bait to kill civilians. In February 2025, an American organization was established under the name the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Its declared mission: to deliver humanitarian aid to civilians in the Gaza Strip. But the reality is far more sinister. This organization is anything but humanitarian. Behind the banners of compassion and the neatly packed food boxes lies a deadly agenda. A tool in the hands of the occupation to continue its war through quieter, more deceptive means. To the point that the first CEO of the organization, Jake Wood, announced his resignation in May, saying that the organization failed to deliver aid. He said the organization doesn't follow basic humanitarian principles. And in the same months, Boston Consulting Group, the company managing the foundation's operations, announced it was ending its contract with the organization. Which makes sense, since the organization is backed by the administration of U.S. President Donald Trump and the Israeli government. All the aid distribution centers run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation are located in areas controlled by the occupation army. That makes reaching them a huge risk, full of danger. The first center is in Wadi Gaza, in the middle of the Strip, and it's very close to the Netzarim corridor. And we all know that the Netzarim corridor is under Israeli control. It's the dividing line between the north of Gaza and the city. According to the press, international reports, and eyewitnesses, Israeli soldiers have fired multiple times at civilians approaching the aid center. On top of that, people in Gaza have to walk around 2 kilometers to reach the center. 2 kilometers on foot under fire just to get a bit of flour. And let me tell you, the centers themselves are a big trap. They're designed like military camps. Civilians have to walk through narrow paths surrounded by metal fences. And as soon as they enter, tear gas is fired by the American forces in charge of the center. On top of that, there are some reports saying that the American forces at the aid centers are using live ammunition against Palestinian civilians. And even if civilians manage to survive the gunfire, whether from the occupation army or the American forces, and actually reach the aid, let me tell you, the aid consists of a very limited amount of food supplies, and most of the people who risk their lives every day for this aid end up getting nothing at all. On May 27, 2025, the very first day of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation's operations, 3 people were killed and over 40 were injured. The next day, 10 people were killed and more than 80 were injured. On June 1, 30 people were killed. And from June 3, 2025 until now, around 10 or more civilians have been killed every day while trying to get humanitarian aid. The total number of civilians killed while attempting to receive aid has now reached over 600 people in recent days. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, condemned the actions of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and the head of UNRWA said that aid distribution has turned into a deadly trap. The United Nations also declared that food should never be used as a weapon in the hands of the Israeli occupation army. The Palestinian people were being starved even before the attacks of October 7, 2023, and if you think life in Gaza was easy before October 7, you're wrong, because things were already extremely difficult and Gaza was under siege. Israel has been restricting the entry of goods and aid into Gaza since 2007, and they've been tightening control over people's movement, banning them from leaving the Strip. Civilians in the Gaza Strip relied on foreign aid even before the events of October 7, 2023, whether for food or medical treatment. But after October 7, the siege became even tighter, and Israel began fully controlling the entry of aid. Instead of around 500 trucks carrying food and medicine entering daily, the number dropped by more than 80%. And over the past 2 years, the number kept decreasing, until now, where no aid trucks are entering the Strip except on very few days. Since March 2, 2025, Israel closed the Rafah crossing and completely blocked the entry of humanitarian aid that used to come through Egypt. And because of Israel's actions and its prevention of aid from reaching Gaza, a dispute broke out between Israel and Hamas regarding the ceasefire agreement. And even though many organizations, like the United Nations, have condemned the humanitarian and health disaster caused by the siege, and the American organization Human Rights Watch accused Israel of using the siege as a tool for genocide against the Palestinian people, Israel still doesn't care about civilian lives and continues to impose the siege on the Gaza Strip. And because of the heavy pressure on the Israeli government, they decided to ease the strict siege that started in October 2023 through the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which began in May 2025. At the beginning, things were unclear. The deputy spokesperson for the U.S. State Department, Tommy Pigott, stated that the foundation had distributed over 46 million meals since the start of May. And maybe he's right, but the undeniable truth is that those meals were stained with the blood of civilians. Hamas announced that at least 549 people were killed by Israeli occupation forces while trying to receive the meals, and over 4,000 people were injured, whether from gunfire, tear gas causing suffocation, or even assaults by American forces. And if anyone says Hamas is exaggerating the numbers, let me tell you, the United Nations confirmed the exact same figures. Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis published a report by the hospital director stating that they receive 20 dead and 60 injured Palestinians every day, most of them due to live ammunition. The American news agency Associated Press published an investigation revealing that American contractors guarding aid distribution sites in Gaza deliberately used live ammunition, stun grenades, and tear gas, all while starving Palestinians were rushing to get small amounts of food. Associated Press obtained video footage, eyewitness accounts, and testimonies from some of the American contractors themselves, who told the agency that the situation at the aid centers is dangerous and that the practices being carried out against the Palestinian people are extremely serious. They described the aid distribution process as chaotic and irresponsible. And not only that, they also said that the security guards assigned to protect the centers are unqualified, heavily armed, and carry licenses to do whatever they want. Bullets are fired in all directions, and in some cases, they even open fire on civilians waiting for the aid. Even the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, which opposes Netanyahu's government, published serious information in June. Anonymous Israeli soldiers admitted that they had received orders to open fire on Palestinian crowds to disperse them. Because of the international and public backlash against the Israeli government for using humanitarian aid as a trap to exterminate Palestinians, the Israeli government came out trying to clear itself of the accusations and blamed Hamas, claiming that Hamas is the one responsible for shooting at the Palestinians. But all the witnesses and confessions confirmed that the Israeli occupation army is responsible for the killings at the inhumane aid centers. In other words, the Israeli government is literally killing the victim and then pretending to mourn them. But the international reaction was extremely strong. Everyone is accusing Israel of being inhumane. The French Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jean-Noël Barrot, said that the Israeli army's control over aid distribution centers is a scandal and a disgrace to humanity. Doctors Without Borders also issued a statement calling for the dismantling of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and demanded that the United Nations return to take over the responsibility for distributing humanitarian aid inside the Gaza Strip. At the end of June 2025, the World Health Organization was finally able, for the first time in 4 months, to deliver medical aid to the Gaza Strip. But of course, the supplies were very limited, and Palestinian civilians in Gaza are still suffering from hunger and worsening health conditions. All of this is happening alongside ongoing airstrikes, even targeting displaced people's tents. And what's strange is that despite everything the Palestinian people are going through, world leaders only seem to care about one thing: reaching a prisoner exchange deal between Israel and Hamas in return for a ceasefire in Gaza. But don't ever think that someone who uses food and medicine as a trap to kill vulnerable civilians can ever be trusted in any agreement, especially if that someone is Netanyahu and the Israeli government. And with that, we've reached the end of the video.